There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. And the Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. And why he left his home in the south to roam around the pole, God only knows. It was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell. Though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. It's a Christmas day, and we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold through the parka's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. For our eyes we'd close and our lashes froze until sometimes we could not see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. That very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed and the stars overhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me and Cap, says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm begging that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of moan, it's this cursed cold and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet it ain't being dead, it's my awful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. Well, a pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore that I would not fail. And we started on at the break of dawn, but God, he was ghastly pale. He crouched on his sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And by nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried, horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, you may tax your brawn and brains, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate those last remains. Well, a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. And in the days to come, though my lips were numb and my heart, how I cursed that load. And in the long, long night by the lone firelight, while the huskies round in a ring howled out their woes to the homeless snows, oh God, how I loathe that thing. And every day that quiet clay seemed to heavy and heavier grow. Though on I went, though the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low, and the trail was bad and I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in. And I'd often sing to the hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin. Till I came to the marge of Lake LaBarge, and there a derelict lay. She was jammed in the ice, but I saw in a trice she was called the Alice May. And then I looked at it, and then I thought a bit, and then I looked at my frozen chum. Then here, says I, with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was laying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared and the furnace roared, such a blaze that you seldom see. And then I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. And I made for a hike, for I did not like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the winds began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke made an inky cloak that went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out and danced about. Once again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peep inside. I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked. So I opened the door wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. He wore a smile you could see a mile, and he said, please close that door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in that cold and storm. And since I left Plum Tree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There's strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. And the Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge I cremated Sam McGee.